Today's episode is brought to you by the Vegas Beer Guys. The Everything Sequel podcast contains explicit language, and I will not go to my room. Hello and welcome to the Everything Sequel podcast. This is the Poltergeist edition. Today we're pitching sequels. Michael Shantz here of the How Dare You Awards. Joining me, of course, Pitchmaster himself, Everything Soup, Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions. Hello, Tom.
Sense of humor's good. You're gonna need it. That also goes for these episodes as well,
right.
Poltergeist as well as the Poltergeist movies itself.
That last one was a doozy of depression.
It really
turned.
was,
it took a turn there at the end, didn't it?
It's hard not to, given what we're talking about, but it did. I didn't quite realize how humorless a movie it is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I struggle to recall any kind of comedic or light moment in the entire movie, and you say what you like about Poltergeist 2, but they've got some
they go for the funny
jokes in there. Yeah.
Well, of course, the third voice you're hearing, everyone, is our special guest, Matthew Aldrich, screenwriter. Thank you again, Matt, for joining us for our Poltergeist adventure as we launch the 1982 project.
Yeah, and again, like I've said before, like I could think of no better franchise to talk about. Like, this is the perfect crossover between 1982 right. and the noble work that you guys are doing here. You know, 1982 gave
too much
birth,
credit.
1982 gave birth to a lot of the series that you have been talking. You've talked about a lot of the movies. Like your show has crossed paths with 1982 on more than one occasion.
Well, like that kind of whatever the show is called now, when the Today Show's over at like 9 a.m. I don't even know what it's called now.
It's called Later Today,
but,
maybe.
Like
this morning, it's called Brunch.
That's what it should be called, but I'm pretty sure it's called something else. But yeah, we're like the we're like the sequel to the main event. So we're gonna do right. we're gonna we're following up from the main anchors. You know,
I think
whoever they are.
I think
now.
It's the other way around.
Whichever ones have not been arrested for sexual harassment and or pushing a pro-conservative agenda on network television, we're the people who follow them.
Right.
And there's nothing more Noble Craig than that.
Noble Craig.
Noble Craig. Craig T. Nelson's alternate.
Yes.
Doppelganger.
Am I talking to Craig T. Nelson or am I talking to Noble Craig right now? Yeah. And look, by the way, you know, this tradition that you guys have of pitching sequels, I think is it's perfect, because it's like, okay, we've just spent a good deal of time picking these two movies apart. Now it's like, put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
You know, see if you can learn from the lessons, you know, the object lessons of Poltergeist 2 and 3.
It's funny you should mention that, because this series has sort of broken me, really, to the point where I've decided not to try and elevate this series to where I think it should be, because I think we all agree that continuing this series is a futile gesture.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to make a sequel that's in the spirit of the series itself, which, you know, is completely tasteless.
I was just going to ask. You mean
needless,
something inept and
needless
tasteless?
follow-up to the previous movie. You know, that's if that's what you want, that's what you will get. Because I can't see taking this series in any direction that would serve it well.
Wow, that's bold, and that's like
That's
I mean that's a point of
interesting
view.
to me, Tom.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong point of view to just say like, no, we're gonna play this for pulp and camp, and it's only going to star actors who have died since the original making of the film. So we're gonna reanimate everybody for this one.
Well, that is. I mean, that's the. That is the. That's the other element of it. I mean, we have a picture sequel time machine, so we are unlimited
Right.
in what actors we want to use, what era we want to make this movie
Yeah.
in, who's alive, who's dead. But we're actually reaching a point in cinema history where that time machine sort of exists anyway.
Yeah.
We are, yeah.
So you could go either way. You could choose to resurrect the actor through time travel, or digitally resurrect them.
Because they're going to do it anyway.
Oh god.
Yeah, and slap a Mark Hamill head on it, and let's go. Sorry, yeah, I was supposed to be less depressing, wasn't I, on this podcast? Okay. There we go.
No. I think it's. I no. You bring up a really interesting point, and that's why make a sequel to this? Why because like I said, this is one of those 82 movies that has not gone away, and that is continually
Right.
It has been an active development for many years, and according to the trades, just as recently as 2019, the Russo brothers announced that they were developing one, and that means as much as it means, which is to say, like, they develop a lot of things. So are they actively making this, or is this just one of the things on the many? Is this one of the many films?
Another embezzlement scam.
Right. Or is this just they're in a position where they're able to get a lot of IP and develop it over the course of years. There's no real rush. So all is to say, though, like, somebody somewhere right now is at their desk, and this is on their pile of active projects. This is part of the on development executives thing. This is in their stable right now, and they're trying to find, either if they're trying to find a writer for it, or they're trying to find a writer to rewrite the last one, or like, this is an active development right now. And I wish we had that person in front of us now, because I would want to ask them. So I'll ask you guys, like, why?
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, no, not even just. I don't even want to be judgmental about it. I'm just saying, like, why?
I don't know. I mean,
why do
literally,
another
like, what are
podcast?
you doing? Because where do you go?
Yeah. And
Sorry, Matt, I stepped on your question. What was it?
No, you're answering it, and I think, Tom, you preemptively offered a really great answer, which is to say, like, well, if we're gonna do another one, let's stop trying to let's do what they've been doing, but twice as hard, maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Well, it's funny because Tom, one of my first instincts was to go, like, scary movie it.
Oh, do a send up
go-
of it.
Yeah, like, go in that direction. And ultimately, I decided that's a whole different movie, so I'm not, I didn't go that way. But it was one of my first thoughts, was to do a send up.
Well, that's what Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is to Texas Chainsaw
Right.
Massacre.
Mm.
So it's not unprecedented.
I think it's an interesting idea to change the genre, because the series, in my opinion, did change the genre from 1 to 3.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
You have no idea what you just said in relation to my pitch.
oh, fantastic. Well, and same here.
You're making me look better.
No, same here, because because I found, as you were talking, I was realizing, like, I actually did try to restore the series to its former glory. I did look at it and say, like, no, the first movie still holds up. The first movie is still good, and it was still, and it's still a quality example of a it's one of the few horror movies, or scary movies, I'll say. It's one of the few scary movies you can watch as a family.
Right.
Definitely.
And I'm like, wow, instead of like a 4-quadrant horror film, that's That's
unusual.
That's unusual. That's there seems to be some empty, undeveloped land there. Like, let's buy a couple acres.
Really? Yeah.
Let's buy a couple acres there and see if we can build something rather than trying to build on the limited amount of space in this other overdeveloped part of town. Like, that's, you know, to bring it back to real estate development.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
You know, it's I feel like I feel like that is, for me anyway, when I'm considering like why bother making a sequel to something? Why should a sequel live? For me, it's about like, well, what is still left on the table? What is still undiscovered, undeveloped? To use a food analogy, right? You serve a fantastic meal to somebody, and you have a big dinner party, and everybody loves the meal, and you say, come back next week. Come back next week. I'm going to serve you another dinner party. And so the question is, do you make them a new meal, or do you serve them leftovers? Do you just reheat what they failed to eat the first time? And I feel like Poltergeist 2 and 3 are just the fucking doggy bags of Poltergeist 1. And so my pitch was trying to go like, no. Let's hold another dinner party. Let's feed them another big meal. Now I'll see if I delivered on that. But that was my approach anyway.
That's interesting.
I'm definitely on the warmed up leftover side of.
I think I'm somewhere in between. I've got some leftovers, and maybe I've got a side dish for you.
I don't know though, Tom, because it sounds like you're not serving leftovers. You're saying no. This is not a dinner party. It's a food fight. Like it sounds
right. Yeah,
right.
You know what I mean? Which is completely valid.
There's a lot of why not in my pitch. There's a lot of why not. Why not go this direction? Why not? Like, we already did, Poltergeist in the high rise. So
right, why not do it in space? Or why not? Yeah.
I didn't go to space. So there's one thing you can say about me. I've yet to go to space.
What about Christmas? Did you set it at Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas.
I've never added Have we added Christmas to a pitch? Not that didn't have Christmas in it already, like Die Hard or Gremlins. I think.
But like, really, what series couldn't be completed without a Christmas episode? Planet of the Apes at Christmas.
Well, actually, my Harry Potter was a Christmas Carol ripoff.
Yeah, I never understood.
Pottersville.
I never understood the presence of Christmas in the Harry Potter franchise, because I felt like if you have a world with magic, you kind of can't believe in Jesus after that.
Fair point.
One would think.
It struck me. It struck me as little as like aliens and vampires. Like, you can't have them in the same movie. You can't have wizards and Jesus in the same movie. Do I digress?
Yeah. Speaking. Well, to digress even more, I recently saw the trailer for the new Fantastic Beasts movie, and my heart sank when Mads Mikkelsen had to say the word "muggles." I think this is this guy who was like one of the best international actors. And not only is he replacing Johnny Depp in like fucking post Mordecai Johnny Depp in a movie, which is no fun for anyone. He has to say the word "muggles" out loud in his mid-European drawl.
Mike, I think you're outnumbered here.
I know. I can't say anything.
We better move on. We better move.
We got to move along. Speaking of surrogates, before we start, do you want? I have some research on questions we asked on previous podcasts.
Oh,
this is fast becoming a feature.
Please.
Where I say something for which I have no supporting evidence.
And then I look it up later.
Continue to say it as if it's true. And then in between episodes, I go and look it up. And both times I've done this now, the answer has been exactly the same, which is yes and no. The question... So when we were talking about Bill and Ted's Face the Music in our previous episode, I speculated that Orion was relaunched solely for the purpose of making this movie.
Right.
While that is not true, it's also... I can see why I got that impression. I'm only talking out of half my ass, basically, is what I'm saying. Because Orion Pictures was dormant for decades. And it returned to television production in 2013 with the show Paternity Court.
Of course.
Classic.
That's quite a champagne bottle across the bow.
Oh, I know. Can you imagine? Talk about a soft opening. And then, I think 2015, they started to do a marketing and distribution again. And it was 2017 that they officially revitalized as a standalone studio. And then in 2018 they relaunched as Orion Classics. And the first Orion movie that they did with the logo at the front under the banner of being an Orion picture was the remake of Child's Play from 2019.
Oh, okay.
So, Bill and Ted's Face the Music definitely fits into that pattern of Nowtro kind
Right.
of release. Mm-hmm. Now, sort of like old titles given a new airing.
A brush off.
Yeah, but now, I mean, since Face the Music come out, they've rebranded again, and now that they're sort of trying to they're promoting movies made by underrepresented filmmakers. So they're working closely with the LGBT community, people with disabilities, people of color, women.
This I like.
Right, but it's kind of fascinating. When Face the Music was released, it was definitely on brand, but now it would seem like a stodgy old white person project,
right?
Orion, since they rebranded. So, but this Orion continues to reinvent itself. It's reinvented itself about 5 times in the last 10 years.
Interesting.
After being non-existent for decades.
All right.
So there you go.
Update corner.
Update corner. There you go.
It's more like it's more like you're just trying to not subject yourself to a slander lawsuit. It's not really update. It's more like a legal CYA corner.
Well, I don't know if you I don't know like how much you've heard, but that's exactly what I was trying to do when I looked up
Gladden.
The Gladden Entertainment. I said Mannequin 2 was part of an embezzlement scam. Continued to sort of double down on that throughout the podcast, and then I went away and did some research and found out that
you were mostly right.
I was mostly, although this individual film was not implicated, the person producing it was embroiled in lifelong embezzlement of movies.
Excellent.
So, yes, avoiding lawsuits is definitely the elephant in the room here.
Great. I'm happy to be here for that.
All right. Well, pitching sequels. Usually we ask ourselves, was this easy or difficult for either of you?
It was easier after I gave up.
Oh, I love that answer.
It's like after I abandoned.
Interesting that you say that, because that was my experience. Yeah,
I love that answer.
When I abandoned all hope of contributing anything to our culture, it got very easy very quickly.
All right.
It was easy after I gave up.
Because I had the same exact notion, where for a week I thought, what the fuck am I going to do with this movie? Yeah. And like you, I just sort of quit thinking about it. And then that's when an idea came.
Like, it's just a bad movie zen.
Yeah.
Kind of, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like you just unfocus your eyes a little bit.
I think there's a lot to be said. there's a lot to be said for not overthinking it. You know, there really is. I mean, it's because I think, as we've talked about in these two movies, I think they overthought these sequels quite a bit, actually, in trying to sort of contort them into the Carol Ann versus Kane story, you know, and it just they got way too heady when it's like, no, we just wanted. It's like the best scene from Poltergeist 1 is when she slides across the kitchen floor, and Joe Beth Williams like puts a football helmet on her, and they, you know, and they invite Craig T. Nelson in to see the cool thing that's going on in the kitchen. Like, that's really just what people want. Is a sense of wonder that the first one had, and not what they ended up giving. For me, this was not. I wouldn't say this was difficult. It took me a couple swings to get a pitch that I liked. I kind of ran through I ran through the first one. I was like, oh, it should be this, blah 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 blah, and I realized I was just pitching Haunting of Hill House. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna not do that. And then I did another pitch, or I sort of looked at another low hanging fruit and decided, now that wasn't that. I don't care about that either. And then on my third try, I actually got something where I was like, I would actually go see this movie. I don't know what it would be, but I'm interested enough to go see this movie.
All right. You don't go see anything.
It's so funny how differently our minds work, Matt. Because I would not have made it to that third idea.
You guys have been doing this so much more than me, though. Like
I guarantee you, I'd be like, it's Haunting of Hill House, but whatever. And then I'd be like, low hanging fruit.
I gotta eat it right away. But
I don't even have to reach.
I gotta get to it right away before it goes bad.
Well, it was so funny because after I wrote that low hanging fruit in one sentence, and I was like, meh. That was my response to it. And then I looked up, I did some research about like all the different variations and things that people have tried over the years, and the storyline that I was going after was one of the botched sequel attempts. Actually.
Oh, I'm so scared that that'll be mine now.
Are we supposed to write things down for this? And do research? Can't I just open a bag of Doritos and watch Viva Zapata?
Sort of think.
That's my...
What was that idea, Matt?
The low-hanging fruit?
Yeah.
I just wrote, you just do a complete, like a bottle episode, which is all about Kane in his life and his exodus to northern Arizona and the Mormon death cult. That was what I was thinking. And I was like, nah, I don't care. And it really was only after I had written that I don't care about that I realized, yeah, and I didn't care about it in Poltergeist 2, and I didn't care about it in Poltergeist 3. Like it was like only
it's never mentioned in Poltergeist 3 for that.
Yeah, right. Poltergeist 3 didn't even care about it.
Right. And so, like, I was like, no, this is the exact same trap that the writers of the sequels fell into, which is like, we got to explain Kane. Mm-hmm. And
what they actually took that from, that storyline, is from a Sherlock Holmes novella called The Valley of Fear, which has
I didn't read that.
Mormon.
That's interesting.
A Mormon death cult villain.
And that's that they.
And I mean, there's a lot of other fiction which has sort of, featured some kind of Mormon mafia in it. But as soon as I saw the Kane origin story, I was like, oh, this is Valley of Fear, and it's even done as an origin story in the Valley of Fear as well. It starts with it was when Conan Doyle which is very relevant to us, when Conan Doyle was tired of writing the character, and had been forced by popular opinion to bring it back. And so he just wrote whatever novel he wanted to write, and then had Sherlock Holmes investigating a modern day version of the same crime, and then they'd have like a 100-page origin story in between Sherlock Holmes going, I see, I understand.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So.
All right.
So I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
I want to let the guest go.
No.
All right.
Okay. That's my own false fear. Yeah, I'll go first. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I arrived at this after doing Hill House and a Conan Doyle ripoff. So this is so I decided to do Poltergeist 4. Like, I am continuing the story, warts and all, from 1, 2, and 3, and we're gonna pick up Carol Ann, and she's an adult now.
For fuck's sake.
So she is sort of fitting into the Jo Beth Williams role. She's married to a conservative. She has a child, and she keeps her clairvoyant powers to herself. Right? She has suppressed them in an effort. To live a normal life. And she's just trying to she's denying her past and all that stuff. But then one day, Robbie shows up, and Robbie is a drug addict, and he's been in and out of rehabs. Carol Ann takes him in over the wishes of her husband. She sets Robbie up in the garage, and she lets him detox. But while Carol Ann has resolved to move on with her life, Robbie remains fixated on the traumas of the past. When he tries to talk...
Where's the set?
Huh?
Where is the set?
In whatever suburban enclave that Carol Ann lives.
So she's back in California.
We're back in suburbia. We're back in cul-de-sacs.
Okay.
We're back in that suburban ideal. So when Robbie tries to talk to her about the past, she shuts him down. She refuses to have the conversation altogether. But as Robbie detoxes, as he dries out, he starts to experience these hauntings again. Carol Ann doesn't believe him when he says it. She's saying he's just hallucinating because he's detoxing, and in fact that might what it might be. But Robbie believes them to his bones, and he fears for Carol Ann's daughter because he sees her as being sort of the next Carol Ann. So in order to protect this daughter, Robbie abducts Carol Ann's daughter and runs away with her to keep her safe.
Whoa.
So the story, the middle of the movie, is Carol Ann having to go get her daughter back, not from the spirit world, but from her addict brother. Meanwhile, the poltergeists are chasing Robbie and this little girl, right? And so the only way that Carol Ann is going to get her daughter back and her brother, and by patching this family up again, is by, one, accepting the truth of her powers and using them for good, essentially becoming Tangina. And in the end, the big reveal is that the poltergeist are not chasing the little daughter at all, but they're actually chasing Robbie. And that Carol Ann has to perform a cleansing on her brother because he is also a lightning rod for the spirits, not just Carol Ann. So that's kind of what the movie would be. So Russo brothers, if you're listening.
I was going to say, this is a real shop window for you that we're promoting.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Joe, Anthony, you have my number. That's it.
Well, I will, and that's the thing. If this project ever comes to fruition, we will remember what the alternative could have been.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it could have been The Rise of Cain.
Could have been Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane, or Poltergeist 4, right? It's just called that.
I don't know what it's called. Sure, Poltergeist 4 or
Warts and All. I like Warts and All as a subtitle.
Warts and All.
Yeah, right.
Warts and All. Robbie, yeah. I just want to see Robbie as a drug
Robbie's
addict.
Revenge.
I just want to see Robbie as a drug addict because that kid did not make it out of that braces incident unscarred.
Unscathed. Yes.
No, he's been hitting it hard for a long time. So
yeah.
So that's my sequel.
I like it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Mike? I like it so much because most of it's mine.
Excellent.
I like it so much I bought the company.
Yeah. I tell you what.
Well, fill in the gaps for us then.
I think
what part of that is not in your pitch?
Okay, so ours, Matt, are remarkably similar. I too am calling mine Poltergeist 4, but I will have a subtitle called The Well of Souls.
Crossover.
Yeah, we almost have duplicate pitches. The big difference in mine is that we're not in suburbia. So Carol Ann has put herself still in California, but isolated like a farm.
Mm.
And away from everyone else, because it's sort of the one place we haven't been yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the idea of when the shit goes down, there's almost nowhere you can go.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just isolated. And like you, she is married, and I have she has a son, so I'm doing a sequel inversion where the son is now the one with the powers. And like you, so what I had decided was she almost had a mental block. Sort of everything that had happened to her kind of vanished away. And
which is more Stephen King.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the essence of it, isn't it? That they've all blocked it out.
Right, exactly. So she almost has to, be reminded of what it is she needs to do, because we're going to bring back the band, because at some point, in the beginning, we're going to have the ghosts start, fucking with us. And who you going to call? You're going to call your mom and your brother. I'm going to say Craig T. Nelson's dead.
I wouldn't. You're already in Ghostbusters Afterlife territory, so let's not bring in who you're going to call.
I know how disgruntled you were for Ghostbusters Afterlife. I went ahead and I gave it some worthy nominations in the How Dare Yous this year, just for you, Tom. But that's the crux of mine. We're gonna have Jo Beth Williams come back, and the brother, and you're gonna have that idea of the family has to come together with love to once again. And of course, no Kane, new ghosts, and it's just because
new ghosts. You're gonna love
subtitle.
I got 2 words for
that
you.
Should be
new ghosts.
That should be the subtitle. Poltergeist 4.
Every time you see a ghost, it's old. I'm gonna make them new.
But it'll be the son that's the lightning rod now. But you can see, what I liked about the first one, Matt, was this idea of motherhood, and then that'll translate to Jo Beth Williams being a mother to her daughter still, who has to be a mother to her son.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Poltergeist 4.
So what's the Well of Souls?
The Well of Souls is because there's a well on the property. And underneath it is
new ghosts.
Underneath the well on the property is where
happens in Ghostbusters Afterlife.
A mass grave was. There was a mass grave on the site.
So she lives on a second mass grave?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's a better realtor. I'm just saying.
I had considered like one of my first thoughts were she buys this property, but she says, "Now, what was here before? No fucking cemeteries, right?" And so there was no plotted cemetery, but the idea was, some marauders or something, fucking did some dirty deeds on the land, unbeknownst to everyone.
I think you should keep the subtitle not have the Well of Souls enter into the story at all. And just at one point when she's walking across the property with, like, introducing, like, the realtor is taking her to the farm, and we just hear this, we see a well, and we just hear, ooh! And she said, don't worry about that, that's just the Well of Souls. That's across the property line, that has nothing to and then we build anticipation for Kong versus what is it, Kong Skull Island style for whatever for a Well of Souls franchise spun
Excellent.
off from but it has nothing to do with the story. Just occasionally people walk past the Well of Souls and we hear it. Ooh.
Tom has had issues with my titles lately. In his defense, one of them was just to piss him off.
Oh, yeah, more than one. I guarantee it. Excellent.
So let's
All right,
hear your
Tom.
I don't care, Tom.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I've made, in making bad choices, I think I've made good choices because I have no overlap with any of this. I'm not even
Excellent.
back in. I'm not in suburban California. I'm staying in Chicago. With
Nice.
Great.
Poltergeist.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I like this already.
So,
This is like a 13 Ghosts kind of a thing.
yes. So, Carol Ann. Actually, we have the same starting point. Carol Ann is it's 20. Let's say 30 years after the events of Poltergeist 3.
Sure.
All right.
She remained in Chicago. Is now a realtor, and she ends up.
She doesn't own an art gallery?
No, and when we first see her, she is showing the high-rise building from Poltergeist 3. She's showing an apartment in there, and she basically ends up, without knowing it, that she's showing the apartment that her aunt and uncle used to have, and she realizes it's the same place. Tangina appears in one of the many mirrored walls in that apartment.
They haven't redecorated.
Now it's fashionable. Like, mirrored walls are the thing again in interior design, let's say. And so Tangina appears, and she says, "You must bring me the necklace." You remember the necklace from Poltergeist 3?
Certainly.
Which had no bearing on the plot. And in fact, I think at some point,
we need to find her necklace.
Tom Skerritt.
I forgot to mention that. Nancy Allen's like, I have this.
Right, and yeah, exactly. At some point, and then it's like, oh, we don't need that. That's got nothing to do with anything. Okay, so
it's like Taylor's spear.
Yeah.
It's like, where did that come from?
So Carol Ann gets on the phone to her uncle Tom Skerritt.
So Tom Skerritt's involved.
He's involved.
Tom Skerritt's involved. Nice.
He's part of the Poltergeist. And through their conversation, and he's on the phone. If you can't get him in the film, get him on the phone. And in the conversation, we discover that what happened after the events of Poltergeist 3 is they ended up with this necklace. They put it in a safe deposit box in a bank in Chicago. Basically, it's like, we'll keep it here, keep it safe, under lock and key. No one can get to it. But now Tangina's
until we have to heist it.
Now Tangina has come back saying, I need the necklace. So
from the other side.
From the other side of the mirror. And so Carol and Tom Skerritt saying, just leave it where it is. I'm sure it's all going to be fine. We never needed that necklace. So why would we need it now?
It was a MacGuffin then, it's a MacGuffin now.
Yeah, it's a MacGuffin then, it's a MacGuffin now. And but Carol Ann ignores his advice. She goes to the bank to the safe deposit box to retrieve the necklace. As she's in the room with all the lockers, a bank robbery commences while she's in there, and we're introduced to the crew of bank robbers. They're just there for a straight give me the money, put the money in a bag, take it. But one of
take this necklace.
One of the bank robbers, the one who's taking care of crowd control, sees that Carol Ann is about to take something out of the safe deposit box, and he can't resist finding out what's in there in case it's a precious piece of expensive jewelry. So he makes her open it up, and she's like, "Look, I don't know what will happen when I open this box. Like, we like this necklace is involved in some." And he's like, no, that's all excuses.
Ghostly
Let's
shenanigans.
open this up. It opens it up, and immediately the ghost of Cain comes out, possesses this bank robber, but leaves just enough time for Carol Ann to escape to another part of this bank. So we've got kind of like a Die Hard thing going on, where the ghost of Cain has possessed this bank robber. There's a hostage situation, but also, and now the police are surrounding the building because now.
How many floors are there?
Right, exactly, yeah. So the bank or the building.
It's one of those old-timey banks. I see it.
Yeah. So she's running around this building trying to escape the ghost of Cain, who has a crew of bank robbers at his disposal. There's a hostage situation. There's SWAT teams outside. And so that's the rest of the movie. But at some point in the movie, actually this is more of a hostage. This is more of like a Dog Day Afternoon kind of scenario, because it goes on for hours and hours into the night, and her family come back. Craig T. Nelson, Joe Beth Williams, Robbie, Dana, everyone comes back. Even those have been written out of the franchise history, and they arrive, and the cop who's on the scene with his walkie-talkie, sort of like saying, we're waiting for the family to come, to try and to help and show their support, and at that point, Craig T. Nelson arrives and he says, "We're here."
Oh. You fit in the line.
Look at you! Look at you!
That didn't even occur to me to pretzel
which
that
is
line
which
into
is
the
like
pitch.
it's a combo of all the catchphrases in one.
And I'm realizing
it's
right
the only
now
permutation left.
It's the only permutation
yeah,
left.
I just realized that could have so easily been in my pitch. Mom shows up. We're here.
Actually, some overlap with Mike's pitch in that it's the bringing together, the reunion of the family that causes the ghost of Cain to falter, and for Carol Ann to get away. The twist at the end of the movie, however, is that once Carol Ann gets she gets control of the necklace, she gets out of the bank, she's reunited with her family. We find out that we flash back to when to the ending of Poltergeist 3, where we didn't see Carol Ann's face as she was over Tom Skerritt's shoulder.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Carol Ann who returned. It was a demonic version of Carol Ann. And she's found a way.
You're gonna go us on this.
And so she's found a way to get control of the necklace that Tom Skerritt had secured away in this bank. And now she has control of it, and that more supernatural shenanigans will ensue.
I like that the demonic version of Carol Ann waited 30 years and became a real estate agent.
Yeah. and she makes off with her dad's car.
I was gonna say that is on par with Taylor's Long Con. That Kane would be
Did
like,
she
I
run
know.
over her dad on the way out. Like,
there's only one way for me to get that necklace, and that's to get my real estate license.
So she's been long conning them all the time, and
I love
now
that.
she has control of the other side, and Carol Ann is still trapped on the other side of the mirror.
I actually love that pitch. I love that pitch. Here's the thing. Just and you can take this for
that pitch made me so happy.
This is first of all, I love your approach on that pitch. I mean, nobody else seemed to care. Why should
nobody else gives a shit? Why should I?
Just change one letter of the title and run with it.
I'm gonna triple down on Kane.
Now, in the same way that Poltergeist 3, I felt like was encumbered by the fact that it had to have Carol Ann and Kane, and like could have been like just a decent haunted skyscraper movie.
Yeah.
I feel like your pitch, like if you just said, "Hey, it's a bank heist gone wrong," that when they open up a safe deposit box, they open up the door to hell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you have just did a mashup. You did a mashup of heist.
You're mashing
and horror,
genres, yeah.
And you just go ahead and print your money. I feel like that idea is a really great. I would love to see that movie of a heist gone wrong in a supernatural way.
Well,
that sounds
like see Heat turned into a horror movie.
Yeah, just like it's like the thing you didn't expect to be in the safe deposit box.
Yeah.
You open it up and it's a demon. And
unlike Poltergeist 3, that's a happy surprise.
Right.
Yeah, I would be all in on that movie.
Yeah.
But you would have to take it away from the Poltergeist franchise.
But that's what makes it in the spirit of the Poltergeist series, that you don't know how good an original idea you have, and you you hamstring it with a bunch of legacy character nonsense.
With this succubus of a franchise.
So I wanted to be true to that tradition.
You did it. You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. That is the correct approach for this. I feel like the only way, like stepping back, like the only way that I could like stomach like another Poltergeist movie being in the universe is if it were a series and it was Carol Ann as Tangina.
Well, that sort of exists, doesn't it? Isn't that what Poltergeist...
Going from house to house.
Poltergeist, the Legacy
is it like the Ghost Whisperer or something like that?
Yeah, because there is a Poltergeist show that came out at some point.
I
think you're right, Tom. The Legacy.
And it bears no resemblance... That is a... I don't think it's an anthology series, but I don't think it's... a group of poltergeist experts
Carol Ann based.
Locate, retrieve, confiscate, or otherwise do what it takes to fix haunting situations.
Yeah.
So basically, it's about a team of Tanginas.
Yeah, I think that's the that would be a way to do it. That would be like minimally invasive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than having to do what Mike and I did, which was like try to salvage a story about this family that like got buried over the course of 2 movies. I think mine was different from yours, Mike, in that I just really was like I stopped. I just wanted to make it.
You were all in on Robbie.
Well, I wanted to make it about siblingship and not about parenthood.
I actually like that idea too. Like when you said that, it occurred to me I could omit the parents from mine and just make it a sibling thing, and that's interesting. I like that.
I feel like Robbie gets kicked around a lot in those 2 movies, and nobody ever really is worried about how any of this is affecting him, and so. Yeah, I felt like my original thing when I was doing the Hill House ripoff, it was like I sort of tried to imagine where everybody was 30 years later, and then and then using the events of the story to kind of try to reassemble that family. But then I realized like I don't care about that family anymore. Like I don't know. I don't like once Stephen and Diane gave their daughter away, like I kind of gave up on them.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, but I'm saying like this is what we're sort of laughing about and casually batting around ideas about a Poltergeist sequel. Like this is someone's actual job today, now.
Right.
This is a problem on someone's desk. And
yeah, exactly.
And
this is someone's blank piece of paper.
Somebody is looking at this and going like, how do we do this? And then so I kind of circle back to the question I asked at the beginning, which is like, why? why do another Poltergeist? What's the is it to serve up leftovers, to have a food fight, or to feed people again? And I don't know. I kind of like the food fight.
It would be to see those who survive. It would be, I imagine, strongly. I'm sure someone is strongly proposing a Halloween style Poltergeist requel, right? I don't know who's left.
Meaning
is Craig
what?
T. Nelson still alive? Who's still alive?
They're all still alive.
Apart from the ones that died at the time.
Except the ones that, except
the ones that died. We have the ones that died shortly after filming.
But in the past 30 years, everyone has survived. Again, not cursed. Okay.
And gone on to careers, right?
Yeah. So.
Well, there you have it.
You
3
win,
pitches and
good work.
You win. Poltergeist. I'm all in.
Poltergeist. Fucking what a good time. Poltergeist. I'm on board for Poltergeist.
In my head I can see the trailer where the G spookily transforms into an H.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And you know, I want to be true to the spirit of the good version of this movie, which has nothing to do with Poltergeist, where the trailer at least would have no suggestion that there was paranormal involved until about halfway through.
No, not until they open the box.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a heist movie until they open the box, and then all hell breaks loose, which is
and then
the
it's a
tagline.
Geist movie.
It's a Geist movie.
And then
That's
you get
it.
to have,
That's a new genre, Geist movie, ghost-based heist movies.
I love it.
And then you get to have, 73 scenes of bank robbers talking to each other like, why does Scorpio want to kill this girl?
Exactly,
so bad?
yeah. Why does he why does he keep bashing coffee? Why is he telling me to take wives?
Why is this ghost trying to give me literature all the time?
Giving me underwear.
He's riding around on his little bike now, and
oh, love it.
Oh wow! All right, well, there you have it, everyone. We'll put a poll out, and you get to vote.
Yeah.
So, which one do you like? Do you like Poltergeist 4, Poltergeist 4, The Well of Souls, or Poltergeist?
And the winner will be submitted to the Russo brothers.
Yeah,
there you go.
Because I'm sure they need something. I'm sure they're sweating this.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Send us an email to everythingsequel@gmail.com and pitch us your sequel. We'll read it on air. Oh boy. Anything you'd like to pitch, Matt? Not pitch, but anything you want to promote?
What was wrong with Poltergeist 4?
You just saw my eyes get really wide.
You got anything coming up that you want people to look out for? Or how about the number 2 movie on Netflix right now?
By some strange quirk of the algorithm, yeah. No, I mean, I was fortunate enough to get to work on the Lightyear movie that's coming out in June.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so I'm so excited for the world to see that. I feel like, I'm proud of the work that I did, but I did a very tiny bit compared to the mountain of labor that went into the finished film. But I'm very proud that my name's somewhere on that film, and I can't wait to see the finished thing, which I haven't seen yet.
Nice.
But Angus, I'm sure, has made one hell of a movie, and yeah, I think it's going to be pretty amazing.
Oh, me and my 4-year-old will
All
be
right.
there on opening.
Yeah,
the premiere.
exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty rad. It's going to be pretty rad.
Well, by all means, keep eyes and ears out for that, everyone. Lightyear coming to you in June. Tom, anything coming up for you?
Just plugging away at this at our noble Craig work here on the Everything Sequel podcast.
Our noble effort here on the podcast.
Everything or Nothing sequel. Our James Bond sequel miniseries is ongoing, as are our watch-alongs. So head over to you. I would
Check
say
out
just
our YouTube
head
channel.
over to YouTube. There's a whole visual counterpart world, a mirror universe, if you will, of video podcasts that we have for Everything sequel.
Absolutely. And for myself, my continued work here on the Everything Sequel podcast, but of course we have the sister podcast, the How Dare You podcast, with co-host Lady Chu, the movie novice, in which a movie fanatic and a movie novice meet to talk about, well, both the good and the bad from Hollywood.
Right.
So check that out, the How Dare You podcast.
Excellent show.
All right, that's it. For Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions and our special guest star, Matthew Aldrich, Michael Chance here of the How Dare You Awards. Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Tom.
Don't forget the cilantro. Was that the speaking
one?
of The Godfather, was that the late 80s yuppie version of Take the Gun, Leave the Cannoli? Don't forget the cilantro. What was your quotable, Matt? Wasn't that right?
No, it actually wasn't that, although I love that line. The quotable I thought you were going to do was Nancy Allen from Poltergeist 3. She screams at Tom Scared at one point, quote, "What does it matter? Who the hell goddamn cares?"
I wrote that line down. I forgot to mention it on the episode.
It's like there was some...
Who the goddamn hell cares?
You know, like the kind of... the way that psychics do automatic writing. I have a feeling that was a line automatic written into the script. When the was just
it appeared in the script and nobody claimed having written it. It was the ghost.
Yeah.
Did you write that line? No, I didn't. Was it an ad lib? No, it was in the script. Check with the script supervisor. She's missing. Like, yeah.
What script supervisor? There hasn't been a script supervisor here for 30 years.
Right? No, she was sitting right there.
She was standing by that mirror.
Yeah.
All right. That's it, everyone. Until next time, Tom and I, of course, will be back. Matt, we can't thank you enough. It's been such a treat.
This was great, guys. And 1982 Project will be dropping now. So go find it wherever you listen to the pods.
Now true. All right.
I like to think I know something about beer, but nowadays even I get overwhelmed when confronted by the exhaustive selection of craft beers they have at bars, breweries, and even grocery stores. Back in the day you had one, maybe two craft beers to choose from, and if you were confused, you ordered a Guinness. But in beerstinations like San Diego, the craft beer options lately are in double, sometimes even triple digits. So what's a beer drinker to do? You need what I need, the Vegas Beer Guys. Your beer of choice should be a perfect blend of malt and hops. And so a live show about beer needs that same balance. And the Vegas Beer Guys matches beer expert Dan Aker with self-proclaimed beer novice Stephen J. Weiss. The results are eminently drinkable. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. They'll try new beers, they'll tell you about beer. Think of them as your beer Sherpas guiding you up a foamy-headed mountain to reach the peak of your pint. God, I need a beer.